Hello, welcome to this Introduction to Springpoint, Partners in School Design. My name is Melissa Giroux, and I'm the Knowledge Sharing Manager at Springpoint. My role is to share what we've learned with our network of groups and people creating new, innovative small high schools, and to learn from you and reflect that knowledge back in the network so that we're all sharing knowledge and learning from each other. So you'll be hearing from me in this role on webinars. You'll be hearing from me at convenings through social media, and I hope you feel free to contact me and help me in this job of sharing what we know. So today my objective with this presentation is to tell you more about Springpoint and to introduce you to our design principles. So with that in mind, let's get started. First, what we believe at Springpoint. So the world has changed. The economy has gotten more complex. So there's a great challenge before us as educators because all of our kids will need deep knowledge and higher order skills to acquire all but the lowest paying jobs. So we really need to see significant increases in graduation rates and in college and career preparedness of our graduates. So there's a challenge, but there's also a great opportunity with the rollout of the Common Core standards, of the forthcoming common assessments, and with the development of lots of new tools that really facilitate personalized learning. We at Springpoint feel challenged to create new forms of high school that will bring students to college ready. So we see the need to develop exemplar high school designs that can maximize the integration of these tools that I was talking about with what we know has worked for high-performing new schools in the past. We also believe at Springpoint that districts and school networks really can become engines for the creation of high-performing new schools with tailored support. So we're guided in our work by a set of design principles. We don't have a model, and we work by creating relationships with districts and helping them identify their needs and giving them tailored support for their needs. We expect across the country, as the districts and school networks we work with design schools based on these principles, that their models will be different because their resources will be different and their communities will be different. So they'll come out with different successful models of high-performing schools based on our design principles. So that's really what we want to see, and we believe that with new small schools we can create learning environments that will help students that are behind on the standards as they enter high school and those that are already proficient and ready to advance. So that's our goal in our work with you at Springpoint. Here's how it would work. We would work with selected districts and school networks that are selected because they have the interest, the policy conditions, and really the need to develop new forms of high school to meet the needs of students in low-performing high schools. The work really calls for a lot of invention, and the partnership of supportive districts and networks along with the entrepreneurial design teams and leaders ready to work together for this challenge are who we're looking to support. Springpoint will do all we can to support selected districts and school networks and their design teams through the process of planning, designing, and launching. And we've put together on this slide a skeletal picture of what planning, designing, and launching would look like, but actually because we tailor support to each district and school network according to their needs, the outlines of this plan will look really different for and be filled out for each partner that we work with. So more specifically, what do we do? Well, we like these verbs, that we support our partner districts and school networks and design teams. Ultimately, we connect them to each other, to us, and we partner with them. We don't have all the answers to how to do this, we're bringing these design principles together to form schools that haven't been seen before, that are really based in the Common Core. So we will partner with you and guide you with our set of design principles. We will connect you to each other and knowledge share, and hopefully bring really create an ever-improving network of knowledge and expertise, growing expertise on how to do this. And then specifically, we will support district school networks and their design teams by visiting you, on-site visits, by holding webinars. We'll go into depth on various issues that you'll all have to deal with on various design principles, at convenings, at trainings, through social media and online. And what we believe and what we do happily is derived in part from quite solid research. I want to share one study with you. The MDRC 2010 study on small schools of choice in New York City looked at a decade of reform where New York City closed large failing schools and opened new small schools in their stead. And looking at those schools, there were 21,000 students, over 21,000 students in the sample. They saw that 4-year graduation rates increased by 6.8% just in that first cohort that went from 9th grade to graduation to seniors. And then since then, there's been an update, actually, a brief on the MDR study, and looking at the two first cohorts that started in 9th grade and graduated, they saw a 4-year graduation rate of actually 8.6%. So the research has concluded, and it shrunk the gap between graduation rates between white students and students of color. And the research has concluded that transformation in a large urban school system at scale serving disadvantaged students is possible in a relatively short period of time. The study looked at kids over 6 years, 2002 to 2008, and ultimately the schools that it looked at served at full capacity served over 45,000 students. So this is great research from which we derive a part of what we do. So I'm going to get to the design principles. The design principles were developed by Carnegie Corporation of New York. There are 10 of them, and they're a guide for designing new small high schools based on the Common Core. We say that they're derived from the MDRC research because the design principles were developed by Carnegie through a scan of design principles used by the New York City Department of Education, by New Visions for Public Schools, and by other high-performing school networks. And then those principles were refined with feedback and contributions from experienced educators. All of those schools in these high-performing networks were strategically planned on essential design principles. So the networks and districts created supportive conditions to design teams in order to increase their effectiveness and support the key elements of design. So that's what we base our work on at Springpoint. We're going to be providing our partners that support. So before we head into the principles, I want to encourage you to look at them as a framework. As we go through them, you'll see that they're very interrelated, so it's very hard to think of one without the other. And in fact, that's how Springpoint looks at these principles, that they are in high-performing schools. They are implemented in such a way that they're deeply integrated and mutually reinforcing. Okay, there are 10 principles, as I told you before, and I haven't numbered them because I don't want you to think of them hierarchically, but I will tell you when we get to 5, and you should think that there are 10 as you're listening, because that just helps you listen when you know how long we're going for. So the first principle says that a high-performing secondary school has a clear mission and coherent culture. So this means that really design teams have worked to create a coherent adolescent learning environment. All the elements of the school support and extend learning experiences and are aligned to the mission. And all the adults and in students' lives are committed to a common vision and build those relationships, and really that there are structures that support that. The next design principle says that a high-performing high school prioritizes mastery of rigorous standards aligned to college and career readiness. So it's important here to understand that our belief is that mastery-based instruction aligns to the Common Core standards. So there should be in the design of these schools high standards for all kids, but differentiated supports that determine how they get there or that help them get there. There should be multiple opportunities for students to demonstrate what they know and what they can do with what they know. And students should be understood to be on individual trajectories, so they master a concept or a concept cluster before moving on. The next principle says that a high-performing high school personalizes student learning to meet student needs. Personalization is really how we'll get there. Instruction needs to be varied to support student learning, and it really has to depend on the student's learning goals. We look at the data. What's working for that student, or what has worked before for students on similar learning trajectories? The assessment and the learning experience should be one and the same. So playing the game, building the circuit, writing the blog post, the learning experience produces the performance or the artifact to be assessed. And of course, technology should be used to support and connect learning in and out of school. The next principle says that a high-performing high school maintains an effective human capital strategy aligned with school model and priorities. Okay, the leaders and teachers for these schools will be selected to support the mission of the school and have to be committed and skilled in the principles of design. So to get there, really districts and networks need to have readied the conditions that allow school leaders to hire school teams specifically for their school designs. These conditions need to begin at the district and network level and its capacity to support a human capital pipeline. The next principle says that a high-performing high school develops and deploys collective strengths. So to support invention and innovation, the principles really identify the need for structures that promote this work. There need to be conditions and protocols to promote collaboration amongst stakeholders and policy conditions that allow for differentiated roles for the adults in and around the brick and mortar school so that the model can really be supported. Okay, that was principle number 5. Principle number 6 of 10 says that a high-performing high school remains porous and connected. There need to be partnerships between the high school, the high school design, and community-based organizations like intermediaries, universities, anytime, anywhere learning experts, corporations. These partnerships really strengthen the ability of the school to meet the academic and developmental needs of students. And the school should be part of a school network, like a network of people schools working with Springpoint that enables collaboration, consultation, and growth. The next principle says that a high-performing high school integrates positive youth development to optimize student engagement and effort. So we're really looking to create a school design that encourages and asks all the adults in young people's lives to look to meet their needs and build their competencies in learning environments. Too often we think of youth development in terms of activities that are isolated, after school, camp, but it's really in integration that youth development theory is most powerful, when the principles of youth development meeting needs of students and building their competencies guide the work of school leadership at every level. At the level of the classroom, thinking about the learning environment, school activities, and around the school. So, for example, how does the teacher know and assess the needs and competencies of their students when choosing opportunities, curriculum, learning activities? Does the school have known structures for promoting a college-going culture for all students from 9th grade articulation to graduation? And does the school promote learning through external, authentic experiences? The next design principle says that a high-performing high school empowers and supports students through key transitions into and beyond high school. So we have to ask of our designs, do teachers and the school actively promote how learning relates to students' futures? Are students and their families active participants in assessing their path to graduation? And are there systems in place to support these elements? Systems to help transition in, through, and track progress towards graduation and really beyond graduation. Our next principle says that a high-performing high school manages school operations efficiently and effectively. District policy and school leadership needs to support flexible use of time, people, and technology to support student learning. Of the school design, we'd have to ask, are all school systems, or at the district level, are all school systems aligned to the core mission and goals of the school? Do schools consistently hold themselves accountable with data to these goals for all students? And the last principle is that a high-performing high school continuously improves its operations and model. So is the school community engaged in a dynamic process of self-assessment, reflection, and innovation that is used to, that is impactful in terms of improving curriculum and instructional strategies and helping meet needs and address gaps? There should be effective use of data embedded in all aspects of student learning and school-wide inquiry. So those were the principles. I think in listening to them, it's pretty clear that each principle needs to work in service of the others. You can't very well think of youth development without thinking about rigor or personalization. So they all need to be considered in relation to each other. So that was a brief introduction to the principles. You have a lot to read there, and I only commented briefly on a couple bullets in each one of them. But know that in the future we'll have more webinars where we go into depth on various principles, and we'll have those opportunities at convenings and at future events and online as well. So that was just a brief taste to get you reading and thinking about them for future discussions, really. Before I close, I want to tell you a bit about our team. Joellen Lint is our executive director, and she'll be meeting, she's met with a lot of districts that we'll be working with in the near future, so she's sort of the face of our organization. Anna Hall, our senior director of network support, and Alina Elieva, our director of national strategy, will also be on the ground with districts and design teams. My name is Melissa Giroux. You've met me, the knowledge sharing manager. And Harris Stockel is our program coordinator, and he really keeps us all together. So you'll be meeting him at convenings. You'll be talking to him on the phone. There'll be many occasions to talk to Harris. If you want more information about Springpoint, please visit our website at springpointschools.org. And on behalf of the whole Springpoint team, I want to thank you for joining us today. Again, I'm Melissa Giroux. Thanks for joining us. Bye.